There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. Some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 9 of season 10 of the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 series. Coming to you tonight from the lovely one and only circuit known as Suzuka in the southern half of Japan. I'm John Van Reed. Mark Duggan may join us a little bit later, might be running a little bit late. And welcome to those out in the chat already watching as well. As these guys have still got 5 minutes of practice left here. So while we run through that, let's have a quick look at this Suzuka layout. And of course, this Suzuka layout is quite well known from Formula One, being used a multitude of times. Excuse me, multitude of times. As we start on the start-finish straight, running down into the aptly named first turn, which consists of turn 1 and turn 2, so the tightening apex of 1 into the tighter apex of 2. Then we come out through what's known as the S-curves through turns 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Very technical, very difficult part of the circuit to get right and look after your tyres. And then we come through turn 7, known as the famous Dunlop curve. And then we head into the two-part Degner curve, where we then go underneath the circuit up to the hairpin at turns 10 and 11. Then down through the sweep of turn 12 into the spoon curve through turn 13, and then turn 14, where we have the very aggressive reverse camber. And then we come down the back straightaway through turn 15, otherwise known as R130. And then we come down into the famous Casio Triangle, another well-known circuit, part of the circuit where Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna came together many years ago. Then we come out of that Casio Triangle through turn 18, back down the start-finish straight. And Mark's joined us. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, very good, John. How are you going?
Yeah, not too bad for a Tuesday night. And just quickly going to have a quick look at the points as well before quali starts. And this includes the 2 drop rounds. So the overall points still sees James Scott out in front by 26 points. Nice handy lead. Scott Gamble with a handy lead from Jacob O'Reilly from Vermeulen Motorsports. And then Zachary Vlasbom is equal Ty Delaney on the overalls. Hobson from Synergy Sim Racing, Visma, Mulford, Troy Stone Street from WK&P, and Dave Coleman from Fishy round out the top 10. The pros shuffle a little bit as we move people in and out, and different drop rounds being taken. Sees James Scott still lead that from Gamble. Brenton Hobson into 3rd. Jacob O'Reilly in 4th from Vlasbom. Visma sneaks into 6th, and then Ty Delaney, Dawson and Rudd. And then if we have a look at the Super 2s, it's an 11-point lead now to Stone Street from Mulford. Dave Coleman only 2 points behind Mulford, so that battle's still very tight for the podium there. Steve Tonkin is rounding out the 1,000-pointers in 4th. John Fillingham's moved to 5th. Reg James in 6th. Matt Shanahan from Veteran Gaming Australia in 7th. Dean Flavelle in 8th. Russell Gander in 9th, and Greg Sharp in 10th. And then if we have a look at the vets, it's all Gamble well out in front by 43 points from Troy Stone Street, who's 30 points ahead of John Fillingham. And then comes James Gander, Lavelle, Sean McNamara, Greg Sharp, Brian Minogue, and Chris Blanchard. So that rounds out all of the points going into this evening's race. So reasonable sized field tonight, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Good sized field. Very technical track. I know a lot of drivers don't actually enjoy this track, but I actually find it quite a challenge to drive and race around here, and I enjoy the place. So, be interesting to see how it goes. I got Luke Rosella in here tonight. Haven't seen him with us for quite a while, so that should throw a cut amongst the pigeons. And James Scott well out in front, but Jordan Ross trying to keep him honest as well in the practice time. So I guess more will be revealed once quali starts.
Yes, definitely, which ain't too far away, as we only have about 20 seconds left. Of course, tonight the guys are doing 35 laps, and of course, this is 20-minute warm-up, 15-minute qualifying session. Track state, as it said, 50% to start with. They got one fast repair, unlimited fuel, 17 incident points, and 2 compulsory pit stops to take in during this race, where tyres, I think, will be the main factor in their pit strategies.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty tough track on tyres around here. Lots of technical corners where you need to pull the car up quick and exit quickly. So track temperature at the moment is around about 36 degrees for qualifying. And that will probably increase as the evening goes on slightly.
And Gamble, the first man on track, heading out quite quickly as we start to see the rest of them all pull out. So I've got about 25 cars this evening, so a reasonable sized field. And some very good quality drivers, as we talked about, with Rosella jumping in from the Pro Series as well, and Rudd and Scott. So it'll be interesting to see how these boys perform this evening. Joe Mahoney back with us as well. Joe missed last week.
Yeah, just looking at Joe's practice times, he looks like he's on the pace. So good to see Joe back with us and driving well.
So these boys all spreading themselves out fairly well here to get started. So just have to keep a bit of an eye on the group. James Scott, one of the last ones to go out, did say it was going to be a rock up and drive night. Spoke to him after last week's race. So see how he goes. Expect him to get quicker as the evening goes on. Some other names, Aidan Cale's back with us. Another one of the BE Electrical Race on Oz entries. No Dean Flavel this evening, but Greg Sharp is back. He's managed to get his foot sorted and doctor's orders to get back in the rig, so he's quite happy to come and join us.
Yeah, good to have Greg back. I'm not sure if Scott Rankin is in here.
No, Scott's an apology this evening. He had a very busy weekend calling the English version of the Asian GT3 series. With Dan Yeaman, which I was lucky enough, thanks to Speed Cafe, to watch a bit of it last night. Not last night, night before. See how these guys go as Scott Gamble starts his lap. The very long straightaway, the aptly named turn 1, where you go through 1 into 2 where the radius tightens. Difficult to get a good exit out of there. Got to hear through the S curves. There you got to balance the throttle. Really feel for the grip. To the Dunlop curve. Yeah, we've got to pull the car up very aggressively into the first Degner, into the second Degner curve. Got to get this right. Nice exit there from Gamble. And up into the hairpin. head up into the spoon curve. This is where it gets really tricky. As we come through here, reverse camber now, trying to throw the car out to the right. Very hard to balance and juggle as a driver to get the balance right through there. In full speed. Heading down into the 130. Off the throttle, balance it off the curb. Not let it run too wide. Now pull it up for the Casio triangle. Nicely done by Mr. Gamble. And that's a 202.4. Visma goes with a 202.46. Stone Street a 202.6. Mulford with a 202.9.
Yeah, Timmy Mulford was looking good on that lap, but he just got a big lock-up coming into the final chicane and lost a bit of momentum. So still a pretty good lap there, but just goes to show you how technical this track is and how critical car placement is on the track. You really have to put the car in the right spot for these technical corners.
Hobson just coming straight out of the box here with a 201.95, so already half a second quicker. Bisma. But keep an eye out on James Scott. He's got a couple of purple sectors in his list. Coming into the final complex of corners. For the last turn, expect him to go P1 with all that much purple on the page. And he goes with a 201.4, so half a second faster than Hobson. But James definitely on fire again this evening.
Yeah, he had about half a second on Jordan Ross in practice, so that is pretty consistent in terms of timing.
Here's a fishy car, quite well known to most of us. It's the People's Champion himself, Jamie McKnight, with us this evening. Jamie doesn't get a time on the ball. This is his first lap now. Very balanced. Of course, Jamie, the man that does all the fixed sets for vets. They'd probably expect a balanced car.
Yeah, nice to have Jamie back with us for a night of racing here at East Coast. He does a lot of work for the Vet Series and always someone to put their hand up to help people out if they need a hand. So yeah, good to have Jamie with us tonight.
JWM car's getting out of his way there. Out of the spoon curve. All green sectors for McKnight. So he's definitely on a good lap. You can see where this puts him out. Into the Casio triangle. And let's see what this does for Jamie McKnight. Drops him into 14th. So a few boys already rolling out for their second run. Hobson rolling out. Interestingly, James Scott staying in the pits for this one, Mark.
I think he's with a healthy margin like that. He probably doesn't really need another time, but he may fuel the car up and do a mini race run just to see how the car feels on full fuel.
The other man on track at the moment, keep an eye on, Jordan Ross. He was second fastest in practice. I think yellow in the first sector though, so chasing the circuit here, I think. And that won't be healthy. May have just acquired a 1X there. And having to deal with a few cars that are on their outlap. Maybe not balking his run. Ross the boss coming through and into the pits. So yeah, he did walk that run, I thought. Might just jump on, have a look where Scott Gamble is. He's making his start.
We've got Rook Rosella trying to complete a hot lap as well, but Jordan Ross, no time. We've only got 5 minutes to go, so he's probably only going to get one more chance.
Got Coleman tucked up behind Rosella here. He's got all green sectors as well. Keep an eye on Coleman, but Rosella here, he's given this a good hard crack and into some traffic at the Casio. Probably not the spot where you want to hit him. That seems to get through all right. And Rosella comes across the line in P2. The 2:01.95, 1/1000th of a second behind in front of Hobson. So not much in that.
Yeah, absolutely nothing in that one there.
Rattray White is the next guy to cross, and he moves into P2. Both the Vermeulen boys come out now. Hey, have a look at this. It's himself 500ths in front of Rosella.
Yeah, we know how quick Zach has been since joining us. He's a very, very quick driver, and showing us again tonight how quick he is, sitting in P2 at 2:01.984.
Now, the other thing is these boys on their in-laps will have to get busy, because clock stops at 15. If they want to get themselves out onto another lap, they've got just under 3 minutes.
We've got Jordan Ross, Joe Mahoney, Dave Coleman, Aidan Cale and John Fillingham all yet to set a time.
Hobson, it's got a purple sector, greens to your oranges, tucking into pit lane. He's also got a bit of time left in that car as well, somewhere.
Doing right, interestingly, over a second off his teammate James Scott at the moment. So normally Dylan and James are pretty close in qualifying. I think last time out Dylan struggled a little bit in qualifying as well. I know he's just improved. He's gone to a 2:02.138, so still about 0.6 of a second off his teammate James Scott.
And it's purple in that final sector too, so probably got a little bit more in that car. Hobson's on an out lap. Keep an eye on him. Got O'Reilly on an out lap. He'd be looking to try and bump himself up the order a little bit. Owen Street got himself sitting in the top 10. He's done. Looking back, getting back in.
James Scott back out on track, interestingly too.
What James can do. Up to give himself a little bit of space to Greg Sharp in front of him.
We've only got a minute and a half to go, so not going to be a lot of time for these boys.
Nah, definitely work to be done. Scott definitely buying himself a fair bit of time here. Rosella, he's on an in lap. See another one out of him.
Anthony Vesma's done a great job there to be in P7 ahead of Jacob O'Reilly.
I think he'd be pretty happy with that. Looks like McKnight coming through there on a fast lap. A flurry of guys across the line here. So as that McKnight moves up into 16th. O'Reilly up into 9th. Stone Street back one. James Scott's probably the man to be watching at the moment. Oh, a bit twitchy there. I don't see that too often from James. A little bit hot coming into the spoon curve. That's probably his lap gone, I think, with the one off. Bit of a mix, 2 purple, 2 orange. So I was going to mention to see if he improved.
Well, all the drivers are set a time now, so we've got the grid set.
Coleman sneaking himself up into 17th. Last car to set a time. Yeah, James peeling off. These two guys here at the moment. Riley. See what Jacob can do here. Brenton Hobson setting a purple sector. Car behind. And O'Reilly doesn't go any quicker on that one. Hobson, he moves into P2 with 2:01.796, so he goes a little bit faster.
Yeah, great job there from Brenton.
Lofthouse, I think, may be our last driver on track. That is it. He wasn't. So that is everyone's time set. Might have a quick grid. So we start off with James Scott from Lobs Esports on pole with a 2:01.43. And alongside him is Brenton Hobson from Synergy Sim Racing. The Millions, Zach Rattray White is third alongside the team boss Jordan Ross from Synergy Sim Racing in. Luke Rosella from Lob Esports sits in 5th alongside his teammate Dylan Rudd in 6th. Scotty Gamble in 7th from 9.5 Sim Sport up alongside Accelerate Sim Racing's Anthony Visma. And in 9th we have Jacob O'Reilly from Motorsport. 10th we have the first of our Super 2 drivers, Troy Stone Street from WK&P, who is in front of Melford. 11th from Racing, who lines up alongside Greg Sharp from WK&P. And over the page, we've got Damien Johnstone from Sim Racing in 13th, and Andrew Cale, or Aidan Cale, sorry, from BE Electrical Race on Oz in 14th. Joe Mahoney, his teammate, sits in 15th alongside the People's Champion, Jamie McKnight from Fishy Motorsports. Dave Coleman sits in 17th from Fishy Motorsports, alongside Martin Lofthouse from JWM Esports. Alan Dawson from Riot Sim Racing in 19th, lined up along JWM's Steve Tonkin, and then in first we've got Veteran Game Australia's Matthew Shanahan lining up alongside Simon Mesamo from 95 Sim Sports, and in third we've got Mark Horton from Accelerate Sim Racing alongside John Ham from Veterans Gaming Australia. And over the page we've got Reg James from WK&P. And our race control this evening is Richard Barella, and the safety car driver is Dave Worrell. That is our grid, Mark. Quite a few drivers there out of place, I think.
Yeah, not surprising. Technical track, easy to pick up an off-track round here, so really got to kind of dot your I's and cross your T's while completing a lap. So somebody, some people were probably a bit overcautious and others were throwing caution to the wind. So, yeah, a little bit of a mixed grid, which will make it, should be an exciting race.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how this one plays out as these guys all start making their way to grid. It is a long straightaway down into the aptly named first corner. So it'd be interesting to see. Scott would be looking for a good start. Hobson would be looking for a better one. Keep an eye on Rosella and Rudd. We know how fast they are. And of course, O'Reilly and Rattray White are also very good starters as well at the moment. So it's possible here. So we should be about to tick over second now. So it's going to be an interesting one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lights are out quick. We're away. You guys locking it up the back. A few slower starters. But it looks like Hobson's got a good start. But Rattray White is going to sweep around the outside. Can he hang on to that position through turn 2? No. Hobson hangs on tight, side by side. It's playing into the hands of Scott, allowing him to walk away quite easily. Hobson still hasn't conceded the position. Now tucks into the train. Now leaving Ross out wide. Going side by side with Rudd. Aptly not a great part of the circuit to battle, as we see Rudd gets pushed out a little bit wider there. Comes back onto the track, and he's all the way back down in 8th behind Visma.
A little bit of contact between Jordan Ross and Dylan Rudd there. Rudd was just escorted a little bit wide off the track, lost a bit of momentum, but he's still circulating, that's the main thing. Rosella tried to pounce as well, but Jordan quickly closed the door on him.
Yeah, Ross under a lot of pressure here. Rosella having a really good look at that Synergy Sim Racing Mustang. Tucked right up behind.
And as you said, John, with that battling between Hobson and Rattray White in the first 4 or 5 corners, it's just allowed James Scott to skip ahead slowly. He's got about a 6 or 7 car length lead at the moment.
Oh, Rosella having a very good hard look. Of course, these boys will be looking to go at least 11 laps here for their first tyre change. But we can see James Scott pulling away, Rattray White getting a little bit of a gap. Hobson and Ross in together, Rosella having a good hard look. Go back a little bit further, Damien Johnstone on the move as he goes around Troy Stone Street. Stone Street tucks right up behind real quick. He wasn't going to get caught in a too wide battle like we saw on lap 1.
Pretty good opening lap there, fairly clean, little bit of contact between Rod and Russ as we said earlier, but on the whole it was a pretty good opening lap from all the drivers.
Might just see if we can go back and have a look at that on the Supercheap Auto replay. They're very, very light indeed. A bit of a twitch from Jordan Ross's car. John Stone pulling away from Stone Street after that change, and of course Mulford up one spot as well. He's had a great start, so he's leading our Super 2s sitting in P10. Pretty happy with that one. Still a long way to go, as we pretty much have a train from the second all the way down to ninth here. So these boys will be looking for a way after the car, save a little bit of fuel. Usually as the tyre wear comes on, mistakes start to happen. And a little bit of battling up the back there. Alford's dropped back to Stone Street, which is interesting. Sharp on the radio. They're not sure what's happened to Sharp. He's gone back 2 spots as well. Side by side with Dave Coleman. Race control on the radio as well. So not sure what's going on there. Coleman's just gone back a couple of spots as well. Coleman getting swamped here. Wonder if there might be some damage to his car. Coleman shuffling all the way back. I'd say he's got some damage.
It looked like Coleman, Mahoney and Greg Sharp were 3 wide into that final chicane, which was never going to work out. And Mahoney ended up sideways, and I think Sharp and Coleman both ended up with some damage from that incident.
Supercheap Auto replay. This is Sharp. Bit of a tap there. That might have been before it all came undone.
And they're back at it at turn 1 as well, so a few things to mull over there from race control. We'll leave that up to them to adjudicate.
Yeah, keep those boys busy.
Definitely Dave Coleman is the big loser in that incident. He's dropped well and truly out of the top 10. He's down to 13th.
That's sitting in 24th at the moment, so Dave, he's not very happy, I don't think. But anyway, back to the front. Ross has lost the position to Rosella, and Hobson now under a little bit of pressure from Luke and trying to hang on to the back of Rattray White.
Coleman pits out of the back of the field there, so he obviously has damage that is probably affecting the performance of the car. So he'll use his fast repair, take as much fuel as he can fit in, and another set of tyres, get going.
That's still a long way to go. Still got 31 laps of this place. So just keep an eye on how he goes.
He'll be definitely searching for a safety car at some point.
He'd be hoping for that. Of course, our biggest mover at the moment is the bloke in 16th, Simon Mesamo. Seems to race better when Scott Rankin's not on track. Saying there might be a correlation there. Good little battle here. This is from Sharp, Mahoney, McKnight, Mesamo and Dawson. And Tonkin behind. Lofthouse, sorry.
Yeah, Greg Sharp carrying some battle scars from a few incidents, so I'm not sure if that's going to affect his straight line speed.
Knight doing really well. He's up one spot in 15th. These boys battling in front though.
Mahoney sneaks through.
Of course, after a few weeks out of the sim, Sharp will be looking to try and get some race fitness back. And that's very wide for Mez. That gets good drive out of turn 2. Gonna check on Gamble. Gamble's coming under a lot of pressure from Rudd now. Dylan tucked right up behind these boys. A very good look at the suspension of Scott Gamble in front of him.
James Scott has waltzed ahead and opened up a decent gap now, but we've got Rattray White, Luke Rosella, Jordan Ross, Brenton Hobson, Scott Gamble, Dylan Rudd, Jacob O'Reilly and Anthony Visma all in fairly close proximity, with Visma and Jacob O'Reilly trading paint at the moment, coming out of 130.
That's pretty rough going there. Oh, there's subtle off on there. Let's have a bit of a look at the pass that O'Reilly put on before that. Great move going into the spoon curve there. Great driving from both cars. Let's just check up the front. Rattray White still under a lot of pressure from Rosella.
Because with O'Reilly and Visma battling fairly hard, that's allowed Damien Johnson to get right up onto the back of Anthony Visma as well. So good progress from Damien so far.
Yeah, he'd be pretty happy with that, up 3 spots in the top 10. Damien's been a regular here at East Coast for a very long time. Rattray White working very hard here. Try and keep Rosella tucked up behind him. So, does he have a look here going into Casio? No, it still stays tucked up behind. Not much between these two.
Rattray White doing a great job defending at the moment. He's just putting the car in some good positions, not allowing Luke Rosella any space. Rosella coming for a big dive down into turn 1.
Can he pull it up? Can he hang on to it into 2? Nicely done.
Yeah, that was a great move. Rattray White tried to cover the inside there, but Luke just forced some space open, and Rattray White had no option but to just allow to leave the door slightly ajar, and Luke just crawled on through there and done a very, very good job in pulling the car up and getting the move done cleanly.
Of course, Rattray White now needs to hang on to the back of Rosella, otherwise he'll fall into the clutches of Jordan Ross. Let's just have a look down the back. Alan Dawson. He's still in a good little battle with Simon Mesamo. And these guys battling very hard. Mez still our hard charger, up 6 spots. Great little battle on track here. Greg Sharp still under a bit of pressure from McKnight behind. At 7 to 35 at the moment.
Yeah, Mahoney, since getting past Sharp, he's just been able to open up half a dozen car lengths on him. So I think Greg will probably be losing a little bit of straight line speed with the damage he's incurred from a couple of incidents with Coleman and Mahoney. So I'm sure I can see the left side of his car's got a fair bit of damage on it, so I'm sure he's losing some straight line speed.
Right's good, it's left. Left
So
side.
the thing about the V8s is you can lose your boot or your bonnet and keep the same speed, but you get a scratch on the door and it loses straight line speed like you wouldn't believe, which is a little bit frustrating for drivers who want a little bit of realism, and hopefully when they bring Gen 3 out we've got a new damage model and tyre model.
Yeah, I believe they are on the cards. Of course, Gen 3, hopefully not too far away. I think maybe one more season. Little battle here with Hobson. Under a fair bit of pressure from Rudd. Tucked up behind his own teammate Jordan Ross. He's trying to hang on to Rattray White and Rosella.
Currently on lap 8 of 35, so we've still got 27 laps to go, so still a lot of racing to unfold here tonight, and certainly some chances for some strategic battles as well.
Yeah, you definitely, if you're a Rudd or a Hobson, you're definitely trying to look after your fuel, look after your tyres.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks that does offer up a fairly sizable undercut. So if I'm Dylan Rudd, I'm probably looking to pit at least a lap before the cars I'm battling with at the moment, because it is a very difficult track to pass on. It's certainly possible to make some good moves, but it's not easy, and you really got to set the pass up early.
Ooh, Hobson very twitchy there. Rudd having a good hard look. Definitely getting racy between these two. A little battle on track at the moment is Alan Dawson all over the back of Mesamo. So this battle pack starting to bunch up a bit more as well. Rosella still has Rattray White behind. 3 spots. Rudd still battling with Hobson.
Yeah, this is a pretty close battle pack, this one, for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place. not a lot in it between these cars. Very, very evenly matched all the way through. Rosella and Rattray White just slowly opening that gap up on Jordan Ross at the moment, who's in P4. Not a huge amount, but just a car length each lap. Always difficult when you're just watching that gap open up slowly when you're given 11 tenths yourself.
Ezemo in pit lane early. Back out again. Right, having a good hard look here.
I won't be surprised if I see Brenton Hobson in this lap.
Yeah, he's normally the one that rolls that slightly different strategy.
Yeah, he's always prepared to try his luck on a strategy, something a little bit different from those around him, especially when he's in a battle pack like this. The undercut here, like I said, can be very powerful if you get a good outlap and you're not in any traffic. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Burton dive into the pits.
Towards pit entry now.
Of course, the key is where you're going to come back out. That will dictate when people are pitting.
This field's spread a little bit now as well, and like clockwork, Mark, he's in.
Well, I'll have to thank him for that. I didn't have any information. I just going on Brenton's previous racing with us and how he likes to test his arm. He did exactly what I thought he'd do, and probably a good strategy, because I think what you'll find is if he comes out in clean air, I think you'll find he'll jump, go close to jumping the three cars in front of him. This is Jordan Ross, Rattray White and Luke Rosella.
And if he does that, that'll be a huge gain. It's Rattray White still chasing down Rosella in front. Rosella up 3 spots at the moment.
Yeah, Luke doing a fantastic job out there. It would have been interesting to see if he could have got past a little earlier and whether he could have held on to James a bit, but that's not to be known. But yeah, it's great to have Luke back here with us, and he's doing a superb job out there tonight.
And plenty of clean track in front of Hobson here, so it's hammer time.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we see anybody try and cover this off on this lap.
Of course, these boys all up at the spoon curve at the moment.
And Rudd sideways.
Oh,
Guards it back up. He comes sideways out of the second last corner, I think it was, and just clipped the wall. He's had to pit. He's had no choice.
Whoa! That's a big one, and 130.
Yeah, not a bad save in the end.
Very good save. Very, very good save.
So
Yeah.
Rudd in, O'Reilly in, Visma in.
Yep. Mulford and
Mulford as well.
Stone Street, yep. A big flurry down the back there as well. Fillingham, Orton, Dawson, Isma. Of course, this gives Hobson still plenty of clear air in front of him. And Rosella now under a lot of pressure from Rattray White.
This is exactly what Hobson needs, these two battling and slowing each other up a little bit.
Ross managed to hang on to the back of these guys as well. He's dropped Gamble to the tune of 2.2 seconds.
I think with Hobson and Rudd pitting, it just opened that gap up to Gamble, and yeah, he's probably going to have a little bit of trouble closing that down now. They're currently on lap 12. Be interesting to see if any of these other front runners decide to pit.
Resting moves here. And no, they both, all three stay out.
Gamble stays out as well.
Hobson in a little bit of traffic, gets past one of them, past Tonkin. And the other peels off, so it clears him up for a free run as the Lofthouse goes in.
Yeah, probably lost a couple of tenths there with Lofthouse pitting in front of him, but still got some clean air in front of him now. Jamie McKnight is the next car in front of him.
And of course he manages to hang on in front of Rudd. Thought Hobson would do. Rosella still under a lot of pressure from Rattray White. So almost committing to the longer run here.
Yeah, I think once they don't cover that off in the first instance, I think you just got to commit to a long run and just allow people like Hobson to use their tyres up. Your tyres are already gone, so you just try and allow Hobson to burn them tyres up in his opening couple of laps, and then just let that gap equalise.
And Rosella's in. Oh, Gamble stays out as well.
Rosella's stop will be dictated by where Hobson is on track, I think. I think we'll see Rosella just put enough fuel in just to come out in front.
McKnight peels off in front of Hobson. Let's just see pit exit now for him. Here he comes. There, massive jump by Hobson.
It'll be interesting to see what the stop times are between the two.
Yeah, pit time. Get that up on the board. Hobson was 10.4. Rudd was 12. Rosella 13.2. But Hobson's already about 4 seconds up the road from those guys, so I think Hobson's the big winner out of those first stops there. A bit twitchy though. A bit sideways coming out of Dunlop curve. After those tyres, I hope.
This is a track where sideways is pretty normal. such a technical circuit for this type of car. It's really built for formula cars, and the V8s don't have that sort of downforce to keep them planted.
Mm. Rosella and Rudd side by side. Rosella getting through.
Yeah, Rudd just opening the door up, let Rosella through.
As James Scott rolls in for his first stop. It's our race leader. And Rattray White continues on. Still got Ross tucked up behind him. And Gamble keeps coming as well. These guys going a long way on their first stint now. Mahoney heading down the lane as well. It's going to go back. Martin Lofthouse. Good little battle here with Sharp. Coleman in front of him. So Dave, that early pit stop, managed to get himself up back to 16th.
Joe Mahoney looked like he missed his box as well, so he's had to reverse back into his box, so that's going to cost him a lot of time.
Ouch.
Looked like he came to a stop in his box and then nothing was happening, so he had to reverse a bit.
That's time spent that you don't want to be spending. Hopefully that doesn't knock him down too far. Jordan Ross here, still tucked in second. The Rattray White, Ross and Gamble, only guys not to have taken their first pit stop.
Jordan's been able to close this gap down on Rattray White, so really Jordan feeling quite comfortable out there.
And both shoot down the lane. Gamble do.
Gamble keeps going.
Interesting choice. And
sorry, I kind of thought Gamble was going into the lane there, but just missed the entrance and seemed to pick up the throttle at the last minute. So not sure if he intended to pit and just missed it, or whether that was deliberate.
Scott crosses the line. He's 18 seconds back. Purple sector for Rosella with a 2:02.028. Rosella is flying now. Of course, Hobson just in front of him.
Yeah, Rosella's been able to close that gap down very quickly, so Luke feeling quite strong in the car, happy with the setup by the look of it, and he's got Hobson under pressure straight away. So all them gains Hobson made were great, but now he's fallen into the clutches of Luke Rosella.
Yes, needs to hang on to this here. And just having a look, Jordan Ross has come back out in 8th, so he's a fair way down. I think that longer stint may have hurt his chances a bit. O'Reilly is in 3 spots in 6th. Rudd still sitting in 5th. The Rosella and Hobson. Expect Rosella to make a move here shortly.
Yeah, Jordan Ross lost a lot of ground there in that pit stop. Rattray White was stationary for 16 seconds, so that was a fairly long stop. Visma looks like he's the longest stopper. He was at 22.6. So he's not going to have too much fuel to put in next up, I don't think, compared to the others around him.
No, I think he'll be pretty safe there. Stone Street, probably our shortest filler with 10.8. Coleman, 9.9. Coleman, of course. Sorry?
Sorry, John.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
oh.
gamble in the lane.
Rosella and Hobson in the Casio triangle. Might just quickly show that on the replay. Oh, not that replay. That replay. So into the Casio triangle. Leave that one up the race control to adjudicate. But Hobson losing a couple of spots there. Gets the car around. One of the Vermeulen boys goes through. And Hobson losing a few spots. Excuse me.
Pretty big lunge there from Luke Rosella. Brenton, I think, was committed to turning in. He had to turn in at some point, especially being the chicane.
It definitely leave that to the race control to sort out. Rattray White, he is putting a lot of pressure on Damien Johnstone in front of him. Good little battle packs down the pack as well, as we might just jump on with Steve Tonkin from JWM. See, he's got his teammate in front of him. A lot of pressure from behind from Mahoney. And we've got Sharp, Kale, Coleman battle up front here. And Alan Dawson. Pretty much most of the Super 2 guys in that back. The leading Super 2 guy, Timmy Mulford, he has Troy Stonestreet hunting him down from behind. So, big battle here for the Super 2 lads. We'll keep an eye on that one as the night progresses, Mark. And he's going to drop back down to 22nd. This guy's up 2 spots, but won the Vets Split 3 race on Thursday night. And that's John Fillingham. Showing a lot of pace again. Running out with the big boys here at East Coast.
Yeah, great effort from John. Good to see him out there learning more about the craft of driving the V8s. Doing a great job, and yeah, congratulations for the win on last Thursday.
Really well. And Jordan Ross now still under a lot of pressure from Jacob O'Reilly.
Haven't seen anything from race control regarding the incident between Rosella and Hobson, and I don't think Hobson called it in, so we may not see anything happen from that one.
Yeah, leave that one up to those boys, whether they look at that or not. I think they generally look at most 4Xs.
Very frustrating for Brenton. I'm sure he's done a great job to put himself in a good position.
It was definitely looking very solid, as we currently have a Lob Esports podium at the moment with Scott, Rosella and Rudd. Amble 4 seconds back off those boys. As Hobson just popped up on my radar again. Let's have a look what's happened to Brenton. Coming through similar to what Rudd did earlier, coming through 130R. Does he hang on to it? No, he's found the wall.
He popped an engine too by the look of it.
May be a safety car if that's the case. That is a very unsafe part of the circuit. Engine is smoking.
No. He's got going, he's in the lane by the look of it, so he's got a meatball. Hopefully he's still got a fast repair to use. but that may be
He's
a
night.
night for,
Yeah.
which is a shame. He'd had good speed. He'd done a great job to put himself in a podium position, and unfortunately things just went pear-shaped for him since that opening stop.
Goes to show 130R is a corner that bites. Don't get that exit right, you are going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, it's one of them play you can bounce from one wall to the other on the exit of that if you're not careful.
Alford and Stone Street. This is backed for 9th and 10th. These guys still in an epic battle. And Rosella is now coming under a bit of pressure from his teammate Dylan Rudd. To see how these two progress, whether they fight it out or whether the team orders kick in.
Yeah, well, Dylan opened the door for Luke earlier on and just gave him free passage, but Dylan seems to be getting more and more comfortable with the track and making good time, and yeah, starting to put Luke under a little bit of pressure.
Of course, running with teammates. Retro White and O'Reilly now starting to get close together as well.
Well, Retro White, as we said earlier, had a very long stop compared to the others around him.
And a quick look at Aiden Kale. He's trying to hunt down Dave Coleman in front of him. This is his battle pack. Might stay with this one for a little bit. These guys a bit of airtime down here. Kale, another one of the newbies to the East Coast this season, and he's improving every week. Coleman, of course, did it on lap 3. Kale on lap 4. So these guys are starting to get some older tyres with the pack behind, all pitting around lap 10, 11, 12. So
These boys are well and truly out of sync with the rest of the third, especially in terms of tyre life, but Coleman really didn't have a choice. He had so much damage he had to pit. I'm not sure why Hayden pitted so early, but whether it was tactical or whether he needed some repairs. They're fairly close together at the moment.
as we talked about earlier, very hard track to overtake.
Yeah, we've got Greg Sharp with him and Alan Dawson as well. So Martin Lockhouse, Steve Tompkins, Joe Mahoney. This is quite Jamie McKnight. It's quite a big battle pack that Dave Coleman is leading at the moment. Aidan Kale gets sideways and that allows Sharp through. Tyres won't like that lock up or getting smoke coming through 130. Does a good job to keep everything online.
Yep. Up the Sharp now to try and walk away from these boys a little bit. As Knight gets past Mahoney. While the old veteran making a few moves on this pack. Alan Dawson up 4 spots at the moment in 15th here. And Damien Johnstone up in 8th is up 5 spots. The hardest charger.
We're currently lap 21. We've got 14 and a half laps to go. So still a bit of racing to come. Fairly long laps around here, over 2 minutes. Yeah, still plenty of time for these boys to make some moves. And of course we've got that second pit stop to get through as well. So still plenty of things to unfold before we have our winners and losers tonight.
And of course, you're looking about lap 23, 24 if you're playing the split strategy entire life. So probably not too far away from my next round of stops. These boys here looking very racy. Dawson trying to get the job done. Two JWM cars behind in Lofthouse and Tonkin. Knight tucked right up behind them. Stay with this for another second.
A quick look at Rosella and Rudd as well. Rudd's dropped back a second, so Rudd's clearly had a bad lap in the previous lap.
Yes, his last lap was a 2:04.38 versus a 2:03.37.
Greg Sharp into the pits. Pulls himself out of that battle pack. Probably a wise move. Probably fine. He'll be able to jump all these people after this stop. Mahoney in as well.
And Knight gets up the inside of Tonkin. Can he hang on to it going into the S curves? And yes, he does. Nice driving there. Aiden Kale still trying to hunt down Coleman, and still has Dawson tucked up behind him, so hasn't been able to move up.
Trey White's been able to get past Jacob O'Reilly, heading towards the back of Jordan Ross now. So Zach took about 3 or 4 seconds longer stop than everyone else, so that may well see him propel forward at the second round of stops.
Definitely looking forward to seeing how these stops play out. James Scott, of course, 10 seconds up the road from Rosella, so for him, it's the lay down as they're travelling through.
Business as usual for James.
But Rosella, I haven't seen Luke for a few seasons, but he's back. Sitting in second.
Scotty Gamble's been able to keep his lap times fairly consistent. He's been able to get closer and closer to Dylan Rudd. So Scotty's last lap was a 2:03.2, while Rudd was a 2:03.7. So half a second difference on that lap time. So I'm not sure if Dylan's just struggling with tyres or he's overheated them and just struggling to get them back down to a workable temperature.
Yeah, definitely. Probably wants another lap or two out of him. Campbell, of course, pitted on lap 16, Rudd on lap 11.
So Dylan's already got 12 laps in these tyres.
Coleman's the impressive one. He's gotten 21 laps out of his. Looking to move himself forward. As Retro White peels off into the lane. Let's have a quick look. Anthony Visma. He, of course, shuffled down a bit early. Down 3 spots. He's hanging on to 11th. He's about a second and a half behind Stone Street. Peels into the lane. They're all peeling into the lane as well, this group.
Yeah, I think Visma had a fairly long stop as well. I mean, if I'm Scotty Gamble, I'm pitting this lap to try and get the undercut on Rudd.
Yeah, it'd be worth the attempt.
Got a feeling Rudd may just say these tyres have had enough and I need a new pair, so wouldn't be surprised to see Rudd peel in this one.
It's about that time. As Knight looking to get his second JWM car. And I'll jump on Fred James. He's on the radio a little bit, not sure. The go is there. Getting into the lane as well. Dawson and Fillingham are in there. Jump back up on Rudd. Let's see if Mark gets 2 for 2. But you can see Gamble definitely closing that, has closed that gap.
It's down to nothing now.
So his laps,
So John, I was just about to say, last pit stop they were almost identical with stationary time, so
and they both fill in, Mark. You guessed that one right too. Come back to those two as Rosella the lane as well in front of him. O'Reilly goes in. Knight still trying to get past Lofthouse.
Rattray White will be the one that we'll be interested in just to see where he peels out.
Goes another lap. We've got Rosella on pit exit.
Rattray White coming down the front straight now.
The Rudd stays in front of Gamble. Gamble's going to be under attack here from Rattray White pretty quick.
Long stop, and that long first stint definitely hasn't worked for Rattray White.
Definitely break. What's Rattray White? Early that second stop in 23. Shaping out now to fight to the end for those lads. Out front, James Scott, Jordan Ross still to pit. And then we go back to Dave Coleman. How many more laps can he get out of these tyres? Put it on lap 3. Now on lap 25.
There's still some canvas on there, so he thinks he can maybe get another one out of it.
Hayden Cale's come back out with Mahoney. Eye on that one.
Dave's doing 206s now, so we're pretty sure that them tyres are well and truly had their day, and he's probably just wasting track position at the moment by staying out.
Yeah, I'll pray for a safety car. Interesting moves. James Scott, our race leader. Up through the Dunlop curve into the Degner curves.
Under 10 laps remaining now. We've got about 9.5 laps to go. And James Scott got a very comfortable lead at the moment. And followed by Jordan Ross, but these two boys have still got a pit. And Luke Rosella, Dylan Rudd, Scott Gamble, Zach Rattray White. Definitely looking like a possibility of a Lobs Esport clean sweep on the podium at the moment.
It's definitely shaping up that way. Got on board James Scott. precision car control, precision throttle and braking. Very, very easy. That's not. Goes another lap. Jordan Ross into the pit lane. I'll see where he rolls out. Definitely think he'll come out behind Gamble and Rattray White. John Stone pulls up alongside. Gets past Coleman, knows it's not his battle. The Viz goes through as well. And Scott Gamble just sets the fastest lap of the race at 2:01.769. Don't rule out Gamble coming back at Rudd, Mark.
Yeah, that's a great lap. I was just looking at quickest lap times, and James Scott was leading that with a 2:01.9, but Scotty Gamble lowered the bar there by a couple of tenths to do a 2:01.7. So great lap there from Scotty, and he is chasing Dylan Rudd extremely hard. Like, he ideally would have wanted Rudd to stay out one extra lap, so he could have got that undercut, but hasn't played out that way, and now he's got no choice but to do it. If he wants to do it, he's got to do it on track.
Yep. Keep an eye on that gap, sitting at 2.4 seconds at the moment, but already coming down to 2.2, so it is closing rapidly.
In saying all of that, Dylan's lap was a 2:02.006, which was his quickest lap of the race as well. So boys are finding plenty of speed at the back end of this race at Suzuka.
And James Scott spilled off into the lane. Might see him up the ante now that someone else has got that fastest lap.
And I'm sure James won't lay down, leaving that for someone else to take the prize.
And Timmy Mulford now up behind Coleman. Coleman still has to pit.
Yeah, Dave's on 2:07s, I mean.
Keeps
I
going.
guess he's going to try and leave it till the very last minute. I think, like you said, he's really hoping for a safety car.
And Mulford doing relatively well. He's got Stone Street about 2 seconds behind him. Great result here. This really hottens up the contest in the Super 2 battle between those two. Go back a bit further, Aidan Cale, Mahoney and McKnight still all within a stone throw of each other.
I just noticed Mahoney's been given a post-race penalty for an incident with Reg James. So at the moment, that's probably about the only penalty I've seen tonight.
It's been a very quiet night in the box. One of Dave Worrell's favourite tracks, this being the technical driver that he is. Absolutely enjoys his space apparel. Very upset you can get to bring out the big bad Damon G this evening. Okay, Coleman now about to get passed by Stone Street, I think. And Jordan Ross back in the lane. I'm not sure what this is for. Don't recall seeing a penalty for Ross the Boss. Maybe had a refueling issue. Did have an off track on last lap. Just gonna have a quick look to see there was nothing in that. No, he's driven Mr. Chicane. Not sure whether he might have some technical issues. And Joe Mahoney had a crash as well, which we'll have a quick look at. Mahoney's Cooks cooked it, going hot into the Casio triangle. That just gives a few spots to a few people. Mahoney in the lane as well. His second stop, I think. Oh no, for that would be the incident. No, not sure. He's gone up on the jacks.
No, it was a post-race points penalty for Mahoney. From what I saw, Jordan Ross looks like he's vanished. He's gone out of the server, so his night's done. Brenton Hobson, unfortunately, his night's done.
Not a good night for the Synergy Sim Racing lads. But they still have their teammate out on track. That's this bloke here, Damien Johnstone, sitting in P7. He has the Viz, starting to put a bit of pressure on him in the closing stages. Of course, Johnstone up 6 spots. He's our highest placed charger, along with Coleman at the moment, but he's still got a uphill stop as well. We're on lap 30 or 35.
Yeah, everything seems to have settled down and evened out now. Gamble and Rudd, that gap has well and truly stabilised, and it looks like Dylan may be even driving away a little bit now, so I really can't see Scotty closing that one down unless unless Rudd makes a big glaring error.
Definitely a long way. I think he'd be racing for points at the moment. The man who's definitely got something to fight for now is Anthony Visma. He would be trying to find a way past the Damien Johnstone Synergy Sim Racing Commodore. Shout out to Ben Anthony as well. These tyres get a little bit of age in them now. Well, there's still a few laps to go, so they're going to be nursed home.
Got about 5 laps to go at the moment. Rattray White just slowly edging his way towards Scotty Gamble. 0.3 of a second quicker on the previous lap, so Scotty will be really working hard to try and keep himself in P4. Like I said, there's 5 laps to go. There probably is enough time for Rattray White to get there, but whether he can get there and get past, that's a different kettle of fish.
And something's happened to Stone Street. Just going to have a quick look at Supercheap Auto replay. Flashes up into the hairpin. And rotates the car around, manages to hang on. Gets away with that one.
Yeah, just gets away with that one. Tyres wouldn't have liked it, but he's just got to settle back in, and he's got a bit of space back to Steve Tonkin, so doesn't really have to do anything dramatic. Probably a little bit annoyed with himself, but I think he's still running in the top 10, so he's just got to knuckle down and see out these last 4 or 5 laps.
Visma seems a lot stronger in the first sector. Let's see what he does this time. See if he sets himself up Mesmo into the line. Visma dropping back a little bit here.
And Retro White took another 2 or 3 tenths off Scotty Gamble, so that gap continues to shrink. But we're down to 4 laps to go, so I think Scotty probably got enough of a lead to hang on to that one as long as he keeps it clean. Sure, Retro White will throw everything at it in these final 4 laps.
Yep, he'd be counting them down.
I think they'll be probably a little bit cross with themselves going with the strategy they took, because Zach was in a pretty strong position in the first opening stanza of the race, but then decided to go ultra long and took a long pit stop and just put him in the clutches of traffic, and yeah, just ate away at his time and just wasn't able to make any of that back up really.
Very difficult circuit, Suzuka, to get that strategy right. Looking after the tyres and getting the fuel numbers spot on. See the tyres, he's pushing hard here. Reaching the limit of grip on a few occasions there.
You'll be seeing that relative and seeing that gap closing the Gamble in front, giving him an incentive to just keep pushing.
Keeps trying. Look at that Visma battle again. He's really right up the back of Damien Johnstone here. James Scott running on the lap 33 here. They are ticking down really quick as he goes wide. Johnstone, we don't normally see Damien make a mistake. He's with a little bit of a lock-up. Manages to keep control. Thought it was about to be on for young and old again. As Johnstone fills up in the pits.
So Visma pinched the brake a couple of times there. He did a great job to keep that under control and not slam into the back of Johnstone, but after all that he got the easy pass because Johnstone had to pit for some reason.
Maybe miscalc on the fuel. So that changes the ball game a bit. Jump back up on Dylan Rudd. And sitting in P3. He's 3 seconds up the road from Gamble. As his teammate Luke Rosella 4 seconds the other way.
Because James Scott does end up with the fastest lap of the race with a 2:01.4, so as predicted, he wasn't going to give anybody anything for free.
Definitely been a tough night in the office for a few of these lads. Going to check on our mate Mick Knight, the People's Champion. Great little battle here with Alan Dawson. Just keep an eye on that and see that one plays out.
Down to 2 laps to go, and James Scott looking super comfortable up front.
And Retro White's closed that gap again to 1.7 seconds. But he's found half a second somewhere in the last lap and a half on Gamble. We're on the penultimate lap now. That gap hasn't closed again though, so Rudd has Scamblers responded.
Well, Gamble with a bit of a lock up into the hairpin. That's cost him some time.
Another 3/10. But still a lap and a half to go, Mark. I think it's going to be too much.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's feeling a little bit of pressure at the moment with Rattray White just punching out these faster laps, lap after lap. Rattray White is going to be picking up a toe now down the back straight into 130, and then he'll pick up another one down the front straight. So I think this gap will close up quite a bit between now and the checkered flag.
Definitely worth keeping an eye on. James Scott takes white flag, indicating he's on the final lap. Damien Johnstone hasn't left the pit lane.
I think his race is done.
All three Synergy Sim races tonight. Not seeing the checkered flag. Don't think I would have called that one early on.
No, especially the way they were performing in practice. They looked like they all had reasonable car speed, and we saw Brenton Hobson roll the dice with his strategy and look like he was in a good position, but then some contact with Luke Rosella ended his night. So unfortunate for them boys, but they done a good job while they were out here. Rattray White still working as hard as he can to try and get close to Gamble, but with half a lap to go, I think Gamble should have just enough in hand to keep him at bay.
It's on board here, another close battle between Horton and Fillingham. But it's all been about this fella. He's pretty much dominated from post to post tonight. He'd be pretty chuffed with just rock up and drive. This comes through 130R for the final time into the Casio curves. And coming to take the checkered flag is the one and only James Scott. He'd be pretty chuffed with that one. And, oh, a little bit on the grass there from Luke Rosella. But he had enough up his sleeve. Roll it home in second for the Lobs Esports. Dylan Rudd brings it home in third from Scotty Gamble. And Rattray White will bring it home in fifth. I'm pretty happy. Good hard fight there at the end from Rattray White. His teammate Jacob O'Reilly will be sixth. Sixth man home. And next man after that, we're going to hang on to it.
Looking like Visma's out of fuel.
Yep. That's got to hurt. That has to hurt. And at least it's all downhill for me. Might be able to roll and get across the line, but how many more is he going to lose?
He's lost two. Sharp's on his way. I don't know where Visma.
Where's Sharp and McKnight are there. Visma's going to get across the line just in time, I think. I think Barney is where this end or that end. I can't remember at this track.
I think Visma finished ninth.
Yeah, I think the line's a bit further up. So luckily, didn't lose too many for the Viz. Mulford gets home in front of Stone Street for the Super 2 battle.
Yeah, that was a great drive from Timmy Mulford to finish in 7th place.
Yeah, I think Tim would be very happy with that. And we might do is a little bit of trickery. No, I blew that. That one and that one. Yeah, so James Scott has done it again, Mark. He is definitely driving on fire at the moment. Off week for Scops and Pro Series, as he said. He's just doing all the legwork that he does for the other series. He was just going to rock up and drive this evening. And that's what he's done and put himself in a great result. P1 again. Already lost 2 drop rounds. He's already had 2 zeros, so he hasn't got any more up his sleeve. But I think he's definitely putting a hand on 4th super cheap auto East Coast Trophy here.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not been able to be touched in this series. He had a exceptional race in the Pro Series at Red Bull Ring last time out, where he dominated that race as well. So he's certainly in tip-top form, and yeah, at the moment he's just untouchable in this series. And I would, if he turns up for the few final rounds, I can't see anybody taking the trophy off him.
Yeah, definitely a lot of hard work to be done for drivers, as we might bring drivers, of course. And James, how'd you find that one, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Bit of a grit and go. Haven't driven here in a long time, so it was interesting. But just plugged in, set up from a racing track, and went for it.
Yeah, it worked very well for you. And of course, the man in second, Luke Rosella. I think we basically did the league invite at 5 to 8, so that sort of mentions same thing again. Rock up and drive. That was a pretty good drive, Luke.
Yeah, thanks, John. Been a while since I've driven in this league. Probably been over a little over a year, so yeah, good to be back. Good fun with a couple of the lads just to get the run in for the week in the V8. But no, car was good. Just sort of used one of the setups from Piss and made small little adjustments, but overall the car was good. Both James and Dylan drove well. Props to James on the win. And good to be back in East Coast.
Good to have you back, mate. And Dylan, mate, you had to work a bit harder than the rest of the lads. Got yourself up 3 spots as well. Looked like you had a fair bit going on there fairly early on in the race.
Yeah, took a bit longer to get up to pace around here, so I didn't really. Only did about 3 laps practice in the practice, which doesn't help. But yeah, made it for a fun race in the first stint there, which is always fun.
Good to hear. Seems you're the new one, Luke, and you're all from the same team with a clean sweep. I'll let you do the team shout-outs.
Oh, no worries. First off, I want to thank Speed Cafe, HRS, Sim Racing Equipment, and Ryco Performance Center to get all your hot docs, and I've finally Lobster Sports as well.
Too easy, mate. So next week, boys, we are off to Portimao to Algarve, circuit that we haven't been to before at East Coast, and I think it's a circuit that we have to buy next week, period.
I was just about to say, I better get the credit card out.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, guys? Or just another rock up and plug and play?
Never driven that.
I've driven there either. But, once again, I have to whip out the old credit card. yeah, bit, it's one of those tracks like this track that's more suited to an open wheel or a high downforce car. So yeah, it'll be interesting. See what works in terms of setup there, but yeah, should be good.
Looking forward to it. And then I think the week after we have Jerez, which of course is the circuit being used for the Pro Series as well. So that'll be practice for you lads as well. That. On that note, Mark, a huge thank you to you for jumping in again on a Tuesday night. And these guys put on another great show. Huge thank you to the drivers, of course. Without them on the entertainment, we wouldn't have much to look at. Huge thank you to everybody out in the chat. There's always quite a few out there. It's great to see them all cheering on their teams. Plenty of Accelerate supporters out there this evening, along with a few Vermeulen supporters and SSR supporters. And that note, Mark, you got to be pretty happy with the way the boys handled themselves this evening from Lobs Esports.
Yeah, it was a great night of racing. Yeah, Lob Esports, congrats to them. Clean sweep of the podium. Feel bad for Brenton Hobson. Thought he showed some good pace tonight, and then rolled the dice on the strategy, which seemed to work for him, but then unfortunately just had an incident with Luke Rosella, which ended up taking him out of the race. So it was bad luck for Brenton, but yeah, congrats to Lobs Esports. They clearly had the fastest car tonight, and look forward to Algarve next week, because it's a track I don't have and I've never driven. So yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see how that one plays out for everyone, because I'm pretty sure nobody's raced there before in the V8.
No, not that I'm aware of. So looking forward to that one as well. Anyway, we will see everybody again next week. A huge night from myself and the team, and thanks for watching.
Yep, thanks for watching everyone, and good night, John.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. Some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.